What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It's your boy Goblin, and today we're coming in with the long-awaited main channel upload. I know, dude, I'm a scumbag, I'm a lazy bastard, but here we are, and I'm dropping on the main channel. And today, we're coming in with a video that I'm pretty excited to make, actually. Because today, we're talking about the worst things that I've done for drug money. So I hope you guys enjoy this one. Drop a like if you do. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And also, make sure to check out all of my story videos on Spotify, available right now. All y'all grinders who like to listen with your phone off, or maybe you listen to my content while you're doing something, whether it's at work or at school or wherever you're at, scan the QR code on your screen or check out the link below and follow me on Spotify, because you can watch all of my videos directly on Spotify. Not just audio too, full video on there. So don't miss out, guys. Spotify is cool, and unlike YouTube, they pay me. So if you want to support my content, Spotify is a great way to do it. It helps me pay my bills. Thank you all for tuning in, and without further ado, let's dive right into it. Now, I want to preface this video by saying one thing that's very important for me to get off my chest. You see, when I was younger, I was genuinely a horrible person. And, you know, I think it was mainly the drugs that made me that way. But really, I mean, a lot of you guys can probably relate to this watching at home. There's nothing that will stop me from getting high, especially when I was younger. And when I was put into situations where I had no money and I was bone sober, I would do pretty much whatever it took to get $5, $10 at least to go figure that problem out. And when I was younger, I didn't really see any issue with it. There was no like emotion attached to it. I wasn't doing these things maliciously. But as I've gotten older, especially nowadays, when I look back and tell these stories and think of this stuff again, it makes me cringe a little bit. You know, I look back and I'm like, oh God, like I feel like I wish I could apologize for that. I feel bad for that. But I think that's just part of drug addiction. You know, as you go through the rounds and you go through the ringer and you do your shit, as you get older, even if you don't get sober, you still start to look back on some of those things you did, especially the real egregious shit you did. And you're just like, man, it makes you tingle a little bit. You know, it makes me, I'm going to start tingling as I make this video. But, you know, without further ado, let's dive right into it. And also, this is going to be some things I've told on the channel, some things I haven't. Doesn't really matter either way. This is like almost like a top 5 video for tweakers. Either way, coming in with the first thing that I would say is the 5th worst thing that I've done for money. And this is a loose order, not a strict one. At the end of the day, it's up to you guys to decide what's the worst thing on this list. But coming in with the 5th worst thing I did is I used to sell fake Supreme to kids that weren't my friends. I did this only a handful of times, and it was mainly because I had a buddy named Bob who was real into selling fake Supreme, real into it. This guy's actually the reason I don't buy anything off StockX, because the amount of shit, the amount of fake garbage that this guy would pass through StockX and he'd show me all of it on the app was unfucking believable. And every now and then I would need a little come up, and I would hit him up and I'd go grab a little fake box logo hoodie or something, and I'd figure it out. I'd try to get rid of it. Now, honestly, this guy was the plug for getting rid of Supreme stuff. I was never like that. So most of the time I would buy some fake ass shit and end up sitting on it and just like wearing it and not really being able to get rid of it. But one particular day, I remember I got 2 black box logo hoodies, and this was back in 2015. This was like peak Supreme hype, when a black BOGO hoodie was like easily $700 or $800, if I remember correctly. And there was this kid in my gym class who I've definitely told stories about before a handful of times, but I don't remember the nickname we gave him, so for the sake of this video, we're going to call him Phil. And Phil was someone who, to say the least, had a mental deficiency. Like, Phil was the kind of kid who, like, they would put an extra teacher in the class if you had a class with him, but the teacher would, like, just kind of stand off to the side to not make it obvious they were there for him. But every now and then it would become obvious that they were there for him. And Phil was someone that he wasn't like mentally deficient in the sense like, yo, this kid's drooling on himself, but like, he was just a little slow to pick things up. And he was chatting with me one day, and I would never change for my gym class. I ended up failing gym, which, I mean, dude, I'm a fat retard. You could probably guess why. But I would also never change in the locker room. I would just go to the locker room and like snort Adderall and hit my vape. And I would come into gym class wearing all my clothes. So I show up to class wearing one of these black box logo hoodies that I had. And he's like, oh, dude, like, it's a fire hoodie. Like I've always wanted one of those box logo hoodies. And we're kind of talking shit a little bit, and I had sold this kid weed before. I also actually finessed him out of an eighth before in a different. I really, dude, I didn't. I fucked this kid numerous times, actually. That's how you know he was special. I feel horrible for this looking back. I wish I could pay him back. But, like, man, at the time, I was just up to no good. He's telling me, he's like, man, I want one of those hoodies, dude. I'm like, bro, I got an extra one. Like, no problem. I got you. If I remember correctly, I sold it to him for like $400, which I had paid $100 for the fake one. So this was an extreme come up for me. Percentage wise, this was a 400% come up. I mean, truly just a stunning, stunning result for me. And I sold it to him and I completely got away with it. This was like a no holds barred. You know, he never found out. He would show up to school in this shit and I would sit there like, oh, fuck it. You know, I mean, I would look at him and I'd feel bad every now and then, but like, what are you going to do? I ended up fucking this kid for $50 again in the future, which, I mean, if I could go back, I would definitely apologize to the special needs kid first out of all the people I finessed out of money, because this objectively makes me a bad person. Like the other ones I'm going to tell you about later in this video, they're morally like reprehensible, but this one extremely really does make me a very bad person. So I feel very guilty about it, but he never found out. So I guess it wasn't that bad. You know, it wasn't that bad. Coming in at number 4, though, all right, this is where we get kind of real. I don't think I've ever talked about this one, and probably for good reason, but, you know, I'm going to be honest, I'm probably the only YouTube content creator that will ever disclose something like this publicly, because I am probably the most unsponsorable man on the platform still. And the number 4 is in summer of 2019, I was scamming sponsors. I was absolutely jugging my business email. I was hitting the craziest licks. And in particular, there was one brand that I will not name because I don't want them to come ask me for the money now that they know I have it. And this brand had reached out to me 3 separate times throughout the summer. And summer 2019, for those guys who are new around here and ill-informed, was absolute just peak cocaine rampage for me. I was doing anything it took to make sure I had at least $100 a day for a bag of blow. And if I didn't, we were going to figure something out no matter how drastic it had to be. I was absolutely grinding that summer in mischievous and devious ways. When I say I was grinding that summer, I don't mean like, man, I was dropping a lot of videos and like going to work. No, dude, we were doing this shit. So listen. This sponsor hits me up. They offered me $200, something around that the first time. I give them my Zelle, and it's a small amount of money. And typically, sponsors don't pay you up front for this kind of stuff. They wanted me to promote their product on my YouTube channel. And in 2019, I had like around 100K subs, much smaller than I was, but big enough to start getting paid a little bit for sponsorships. They sent me the money, no questions asked, immediately up front because it was a small enough amount of money where, like, they didn't even make me sign a contract for it. They were just like, hey, let us know when you get the product and do the post. Of course, I take the money, never do the post. A month later, a different employee of the same company hits me up and they pay me money again. This time I asked for $300. They send me the money again. This company clearly was not tracking anything. So I'm like, yo, let's fucking do it. You know, beautiful. $300. I got you. No problem. Send me the product. Send me the money. I'll do the promo. They followed up a few times that second time and they were like, hey, where's your post? Like, we're kind of intrigued. You know, we sent you $300 and we haven't seen anything. And, you know, how it works is these companies will give you a tracking link, right? So it's a specific link that I was supposed to put in my video to then make people click. And that's how they tracked the performance of it to see whether or not they got their $300 worth. And, you know, after weeks gone by and they'd seen that not a soul had clicked their tracking llink, like not even bought anything. No one clicked the link. I never published it anywhere. Eventually, this brand, the owner of the brand, jumped in the email thread, the CEO himself. If I remember correctly, the dude was named like Simon or some shit, which, I don't know, maybe that airs out the company, but good luck figuring that out. Either way, he jumps in the email and he's like, yo, you better fucking refund us. Like, we can sue you for this. Like, saying all this crazy ass shit. And I was coked out of my mind. Mind you, the $300 is already hit. So, like, I was chilling. I had my bag. I'm coked out of my mind. And this motherfucker's emailing me. And I remember it just coke-induced rage. I emailed him back and I was like, yo, fuck you, bro. Like, you ain't suing shit, dude. This is $300. I know damn well you're not calling a lawyer. I was talking crazy as fuck. I was like, dude, pull up, like, come get your money, you fucking pussy. Like, I was saying crazy shit on my business email, dude. If anyone leaked my old business emails, I would genuinely never book a business deal ever again. Although, honestly, thanks to the crack video, I probably am never going to book one again either way. So, either way, I responded to the guy crazy as fuck, just coked out of my mind, raging on the Gmail. He never replied to that one. Funny enough, a few months later, hey, this company really did not have good record keeping. They needed to create a blacklist or something, like a company-wide bulletin to be like, yo, do not hit up Goblin. And I won't say what company this is, but I will say they're one that sponsors 1 million YouTubers, which probably explains how this happened. A few months later, a different marketing employee of this company reached out to me, and I got him for $800 that time because the CEO hit me up talking crazy on my email. It was revenge this time. It was spiteful this time. The first 2 times, no, nothing personal, bro. I'm literally fiending. I need a bag. Nothing personal. Round 3 was extremely, extremely personal. And once again, the marketing girl, Kristen, I think her name was, bless her heart, just banging my line. Hey, we noticed you haven't posted anything. Still, I never had to sign a contract. They just banged my Zelle, no questions asked. It was really the easiest $800. I mean, in total, I made like $1,300 off these guys. And like every penny of that went to my plug. So, I mean, hey, shout out to the sponsor, big ups. Either way, coming in here, at number 3, this is where we're starting to get really reprehensible, guys. This is where we're really like, I'm a bad person, like the finessing the special needs kid or I don't even know if special needs is the right word, the slow guy. Finessing the slow guy for a BOGO hoodie wasn't that bad. I also don't consider scamming the sponsor that horrible because, I mean, it is what it is on those. But now we're at number 3, and this is where things get bad. So, listen, I finessed someone out of $10, okay? A friend of mine, someone that I hung out with and spent time with, I robbed out of $10, okay? And this was a guy who, I think I gave him a fake name back in the day, but it doesn't really matter. This guy's name was Hassan. And we were friends in, I believe it was my sophomore year of high school is when we started hanging out. And we quickly, had a falling out. We had a real problem with each other. I honestly don't even remember what started the issue, but I just remember we were on thin ice with each other. Like, we showed up to a parking lot and nearly fought each other. I was ready to fight, dude. He didn't want to fight. That's all I'm going to say. But either way, we were on thin ice with each other. But one day, this guy hits me up, and he's like, listen, dude, I know we're not on the best terms, but, I really need a 10 sack right now, and no one will serve me. And I'm sitting there, and I had my homie in the car with me, and I'm like, yo, let's go come up on $10 right now. I just so happen to need $10 right now. There was never a moment in my life during this era where I didn't need $10. So wonderful, dude. Let's go collect $10. So this was really the freest lick ever. And mind you, some of you OGs on this channel might be thinking, I've heard about you robbing someone for $10, but this isn't the story I remember. That's because I've actually robbed someone for $10 twice. We'll get to that later. But either way, this is the first instance of it. So I pull up to Hassan's house. And I told him, I was like, yeah, I got a 10 sack for you. No problem, dude. I'll pack it nice and fat. Pull up on him. And I tell him, he walks out of the house. He walks up to my passenger side window because I'm pulled up with the passenger side facing his house, closer to the curb, right? I roll down my window. My buddy's sitting in shotgun. He walks up to the car. And Hassan knew me well enough to know that the odds were high I was going to take his $10 and drive away. So he quite literally said to me, he's holding the $10 in his hand, and he looks at me, and he looks at my homie in the car, and he's like, yo, you're not going to take my, you're not going to rob me right now, right? You have weed for me, right? And I'm like, yes, dude. I have it for you. It's in my glove box. Just let me see the $10, He's like, dude, you swear you're not going to pull off on me? I'm like, dude, I wouldn't pull off on you. I wouldn't do that to you, Hassan. That's not like me. That's not something I would do. Knowing fully well that this guy knows me well enough to know that's very much like me at the time. But either way, he fell for the bait, dude. He hands the $10 into my boy sitting shotgun, and we had discussed the plan. I remember my homie said something like, thanks for the business or some shit. And I just drove the fuck off. And he didn't chase us. He didn't say anything. He didn't yell. I remember looking in my rear view, and this guy's just got his hands in the air. It's almost like when you bump into someone at the airport or something, or imagine you're in a cafeteria and you knock someone's tray out of their hands. That's what I would imagine they would do if you like turn around and look back. Like if you just kept it pushing. He's just standing there just defeated. He knew it was coming. He was desperate for that 10 sack. But little did he know I was more desperate for that 10 sack. And I didn't have a 10 sack to begin with, just like him. So this was a dog eat dog, kind of environment we were in here. Nevertheless, he never offered me $10 again. He knew from that day forward that it was not meant to be. And actually, I think that was the last time I even saw this guy. The last time I saw him was when I took his $10. So yeah, Hassan, if you're out there, dude, I guess I owe you $10. Sorry, man. But no, honestly, no, that guy kind of deserved it. I don't feel as bad. That's why this is rank 3. That's why this isn't further up. Now, coming in at number 2 of the worst things I've done for drug money, this is one that, like, I think is just, it weighs on me. This is one of those things that, like, you look back upon and you're like, oh, my dead relative definitely is, like, gonna haunt me in the near future. Like, I'm gonna get one of those Ouija boards and, like, try to talk to him, and, like, he's gonna cast a spell upon me that'll paralyze me from the neck down. Like, this is not, I really genuinely feel guilty about this one. So, when I was younger, I had an uncle. He died when I was very young. He died, and I couldn't have been older than, like, 8 years old when my uncle died. And my uncle was one of those dudes who had that type of autism where he built a giant train set in his basement and, like, rigorously maintained it for his entire life. And after he died, me and my 2 cousins, each of his nephews, were gifted one of the trains from his set. And I was completely unfamiliar with the world of model trains, but these trains are valuable, dude. Like, these things can be expensive. One little train cart can easily cost a few $100s, right? Like, this is a very, very expensive hobby for a dude with autism to have, right? And my uncle was balling. So he had that balling kind of autism where, like, instead of having 100,000 Reddit karma like the poor autist had, he had 100,000 model trains in the basement because he was a rich autist, right? So when my uncle died, me and each of my cousins got one of his little model trains. The rest of them, I don't know what happened to him. I mean, realistically, his wife probably sold them all, or, like, they're sitting in a storage unit somewhere, because who the fuck else would have wanted them? But this was sent to me, as a gift. And I had it for years and years and years at my dad's house. And as I got older, I really started getting desperate for drug money at one point. It was like after I had dropped, or maybe not after, but it was around when I had dropped out of high school. And when I dropped out of high school, it was before I had gone to rehab. And that stint, I would say the whole year of 2016 was, like, really, really rough for me. I would consider that pretty close to my rock bottom in terms of addiction. I went through 2 rock bottoms, 2016 and I would say, like, 2020 were probably my 2, like, oh God, oh, shit's getting bad. 2019, 2020, right? But in 2016, I was selling everything I had. Literally everything but my cell phone was getting sold. No matter what, it didn't matter. And at this point, I had exhausted most of my options for things to go pawn for money. I had stolen my dad's tool set out of the garage. I literally sold a TV off the wall for ketamine. I had sold every game console I'd ever owned and all the games for them and all the peripherals alongside it. I used to have other collectible shit. I'd sold pretty much everything. So I was starting to get pretty creative with the shit I was showing up to the pawn shop with. And the model train got dug out of my closet one day, and I start hopping on Google and looking up the model number of this train and what it is, and I realized it had some value. I found it on eBay, and it was listed for some money. I was like, okay, let's take my dead uncle's train to the pawn shop. So we go to the pawn shop with this little train cart, and I don't remember exactly how much I got, but it couldn't have been more than $40 or $50. I remember getting very little money for it, and I remember knowing I was getting fucked for it, but did not care. This was a train cart that was easily worth at least like $200, right? I was getting like $40 or $50 out of the pawn shop for it. And my uncle, if he were alive to see this, genuinely would have shot me dead in the pawn shop parking lot. I know that for a fact. I would have been face down on the concrete, bleeding out, retarded, right? So I get like $40 for my dead uncle's train, and I come back outside, and if I remember correctly, I just bought a bag of weed with it. Like, it wasn't even like, oh, dude, at least I got some Zans, or like I'm throwing in on a bag of blow. No, dude, I bought a bag of mid, and then rolled a bunch of pointer blunts until it was gone, dude. If you really want to get morbid, I kind of smoked on my uncle that day, which was fucked up. Like, my uncle's not my op. He didn't do anything wrong. He was actually a very nice guy. I shouldn't have smoked on my dead uncle, but, like, alas, I certainly did, dude. It was very wrong of me. And I feel very bad for that. When I was younger, I pawned a million different things, and most of those things, regardless of where I acquired them from, I don't think I regret pawning. It's whatever. Like, my dad's tool set, all right, first off, my dad was a dickhead. And second off, he wasn't doing shit with that tool set, all right? My dad's lazy. He's not doing shit with that. Nothing. So I wasn't too regretful about that. But my dead uncle's train set that was gifted to me before my balls had dropped was that I still look back. I'm like, man, I wish I still had that. I wish I still had that. However, I want to say pawning dead relatives' loot definitely runs in the family. When my World War II serving ass grandpa died, my uncle, who still lived with him, my bum uncle that never moved out, pawned all of his World War II gear and then spent it at the casino. So, the remainder of the World War II gear that he hadn't pawned before his death. But either way, seems to run in the family. Now, coming in at number one, ladies and gentlemen, the number one worst thing, in my opinion, that I did for drug money. And, there's probably other horrible things I've done, but this is like the stuff that still weighs on me. I referenced this briefly earlier in the video, but it's the second time I robbed someone for $10. You see, you guys might be noticing a theme here, okay? I had no problem fucking someone over for as little as $10 if I needed to get high. Nothing was getting in my way. I was a very determined individual. And this was quite the story. You see, I had a buddy named Isaac who I literally grew up with this guy. Like, we weren't best friends growing up or anything, but we went to elementary school together and stuff. I've known this dude for most of my life, right? And when we were in high school, Isaac had hit me up and he wanted to grab a 10-sack of weed. He hits me up one day and he's like, yo, I'm just trying to grab a little bag. And I was never the plug. I was never the man, but my homies always knew that they could hit me up for shit like that. And if I didn't have it, I was going to be able to find someone for it, which I was. I was like a broker for my friends who had weed to get rid of most of the time. And this particular night, I was with my other friend, Cody, and Cody and I were really having a tough evening. You see, we had pretty much no money. We had smoked the last of our weed. We were sitting there like we were very often, trying to figure out any sort of come up, when all of a sudden, Isaac hits me up and offers to plop $10 in my lap. And Isaac was someone who I had no qualms with. I had no issues with this guy. He's a great dude, and he did not deserve this. And even at the time, he didn't deserve this. Like most of the other things on this list, for example, the other guy robbed for $10, that guy I had a problem with, so I didn't feel as bad about it. Isaac genuinely did not deserve this in any way, shape, or form. So when he hits me up and asks to buy a 10-sack, I tell him at first, I'm like, no, I don't have any weed right now, bro. I can't get you. And then I realize, I'm like, wait, but we could maybe get the $10 out of him and I wouldn't even have to be involved in it because I was at my friend Cody's house and my car was parked out front. So I hit Isaac back and I'm like, yo, my buddy Cody actually has some weed he can serve you. I'm kind of fucked up. I can't really drive right now. I made up this lie. If I remember correctly, I told him I was at a party. And I was like, I'm too fucked up to drive right now, but I can throw my keys to my boy Cody and he can drive my car over there to serve you. It had to be my car because Cody did not have one of his own. So we're sitting there, Cody and I are talking, and it's like, bro, how do we do this in a way where I'm not implicated? Like, you're literally showing up in my car. Like, how do we make this guy think I'm just an innocent middleman in this $10 theft? Because the plan was Cody was going to meet in an elementary school parking lot, driving my car. Isaac was going to hand him the $10, and Cody was literally just going to drive away. This recurring theme here, if you guys notice, we would never rob people by force. We would just try to get the money handed to us first and then drive away. And if they refused to hand the money to us first, then things were going to get awkward pretty fast, like they did numerous times. But either way, I tell Isaac, I'm like, yeah, bro, I can throw my boy Cody the keys and he can hop in the car and drive over and serve you. He'll meet you wherever you want. He's like, okay, tell him to meet me in this elementary school parking lot. I'm like, bet. Mind you, I'm coordinating this entire thing over Snapchat. So I realize, honestly, I don't even know why I came with in retrospect. But I realized I couldn't be in the car. Like, I couldn't be sitting shotgun or anything, because then Isaac would know that I had a part in him getting finessed, and he would be mad at me. And I wanted him to not know I had a part in this. As crazy as this scheme sounds, just try to follow along with me here, guys, right? So I give Cody my keys, and Cody's like, what if you ride in the trunk? Because for some reason I insisted on coming with still. I don't know why. I was just like, man, I want to come, let me ride along just in case. Let me ride along. Who knows what's going to happen? So Cody's like, all right, bro, yeah, just ride in the trunk. And I had a 2-door Honda Accord. I had a 2007 Honda Accord at this point, which that's an enclosed trunk. It's not like a open trunk where I got some breathing room. No, dude, I effectively kidnapped myself for $10. So I get in the trunk of my car. Cody drives over to this elementary school, which is, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes away. I wasn't too far at all. We're in the parking lot, and I'm just laying in back very quietly. I've got my phone on me, and I'm just laying there thinking I'm licking my chops like, man, this $10 about to hit. This $10 about to hit. And Isaac pulls up, gets out of the car. He leans in. He asks Cody, he's like, oh, let me see the weed. He hands him the $10, no hesitation. It all happened very quickly. Cody takes the $10, just dips. I feel this all happen, and I hear it too. Muffled, but I hear it through the trunk. Cody dips. He floors it. I'm sitting there thinking, damn, all right, perfect. $10. Isaac starts spam calling me. He starts banging my fucking line. And I'm like, at first I don't answer. I tell Cody, I'm like, yo, he's calling me. Like, what do I do? And he's like, don't answer. A second goes by. Cody's driving crazy. And all of a sudden, Cody says, he's like, yo, he's fucking following me. So now, I shit you not, there is a literal car chase occurring over $10, and I'm in the trunk of the car, unbeknownst to the victim of the robbery who's pursuing the car, which I'm inside the trunk of, right? So Isaac's spam calling me, and I tell Cody, I'm like, yo, like, shut up. Like, I got to take this call. And Isaac, I pick up the phone, I'm like, what's up? He's like, yeah, like, your boy just fucked me over. I don't remember what I said. I just remember getting called and picking up. And I'm like, oh, yada, 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 whatever. Get off the phone. Cody's flooring it. I couldn't tell you what road we're on as he's flooring it or where he accelerated because I can't see out of the trunk. But I do remember it getting very humid in that bitch. And I'm begging Cody. I'm like, yo, you got to get me out of this trunk soon, bro. I can barely breathe in here, dude. It's so musty in this trunk. Like, please, dude, get me the fuck out of here. So Cody calls his buddy who works at this gas station that's like fairly close to where we're trying to go back to Cody's house. Calls his homie and he's like, yo, this guy's following us. We just finessed him out of $10. We might have to fight him. You want to meet us in the parking lot? We'll all beat his ass. And he's like, yeah, dude, for sure. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, Cody, I can't fight this guy with you. This is my homie. Like, he thinks I'm not here. Like, I can't be a part of this. I'm riding in the trunk the whole time. He's like, no problem, dude. You'll just stay in the trunk. We'll jump out and fucking fight him real quick if he wants to follow us, and then we'll beat his ass, get back in the car, and go. And I'm like, yo, perfect, dude. What a brilliant plan. At no point am I sitting there thinking like, wow, this is the most retarded thing I've ever done for $10. But either way, we end up pulling into this gas station. And Isaac just drives past. He never pulls into the lot. He never, ever once pulls into the lot. And eventually, after a couple minutes of sitting at the gas station, we dip out of there. And it's safe for me to get out of the trunk. We pulled off. I got out of the trunk. And we had $10. And we literally took that $10 and went and grabbed a 10-sack with it. Just like Isaac was trying to do. And got high. And all the while, I'm still trying to act like an innocent middleman. Like, Isaac's like, wow, bro, you set me up. Like, he's messaging me. He's like, wow, fuck, like, what the fuck? Like, he knew immediately. He wasn't stupid. And I was just kind of denying it. But he even said to me, and it made me feel extra guilty. He was like, dude, listen, I'm not mad at you. Like, you could have just asked me for $10, but like, that was lame as fuck to do, you know? And I apologized for it pretty shortly. It didn't take me long to apologize at all. We made up. I paid him back and everything. If I remember correctly, I think I even paid him back more than I took. I felt so guilty about this one. This is one of the rare instances where, like, listen, guys, I did a lot of bad shit when I was still getting high, when I was still a real degenerate for any amount of money. But this was the one I probably felt the most bad about because I was like, man, I grew up with this guy. Like, this is my genuine friend that I just fucked for $10. You know, like, I got to make this up to him. And I did. But, like, man, it really just speaks to how the lengths I would go to when I was desperate to get high. I was doing whatever the fuck. Keep your $10 away from me, out of my eyesight. Don't tell me you have it, because I'm taking that fucking shit every time, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm no longer like that. I'm just a kind gentleman now, and I'm a kind gentleman that posts his videos on Spotify now. So make sure you go tap in with the Spotify, and thank you all for watching this one. I appreciate the patience, waiting for the main channel uploads. I'm sorry I'm a scumbag content creator. I don't post enough, but I'm going to change that. I swear, guys. Listen, if you haven't been keeping up with Crackheads, my newest show featuring Kevin from my stories, also known as Kyle in real life, Gobcast, which is my weekly show that drops every Wednesday, where I have a lot of fascinating people on and take phone calls from you guys. Go tap in with those. And also, if you haven't been watching my Clips channel, then you're missing out on all the highlights of my Twitch live streams, which I do every single Monday. If you don't count this channel, I'm actually one of the most active guys on YouTube, baby. I post like 10 videos a week. But, this channel, I haven't been showing enough love. I'm a scumbag. No, I'm sorry. I'm going to post more, guys. I really mean it. Seriously. A lot of you guys have been asking me why I'm not posting on this channel, and it's not because I'm out of content. It's not because I'm out of ideas for videos. I have a million things I'd like to do on this channel. It's really just been an extremely busy year. And now that I have staff to pay, I have producers on my podcast, I have a thumbnail designer, I have a clips guy, I have to prioritize the things that generate money for me. And this channel, I don't make a cent in ad revenue. I don't get sponsors, and you can probably guess why. Number 4 on this list probably explains it pretty well. And, this channel is like a hobby for me at this point. I hop on this shit and I post on here for fun. So I apologize for not posting as much as I should. I really genuinely do, and I'm going to change that soon. But thank you all for understanding. It's been a very busy year. Things are finally settling down for me, so I think it's time to jump back on the grind. But I'll catch you all in the next one. Deuces.